it's been a really rough weekend around here, but in the sense the focus has always been on bad news, it seems, about child trafficking. I thought I would do a report on what's going on in our solar system, because so many people have asked me, sent me emails and whatnot about Nibiru coming back, and a lot of people are really full of fear that Nibiru is going to come back and kill us all. And actually that's related to something called negative cell memory. And my spiritual teacher, predominant spiritual teacher, Sylvia Brown, wrote a book about it called Past Lives, Future Healing. But actually many hypnotherapists, including Dolores Cannon, have stumbled upon how to heal negative cell memory. In other words, like if you have a crazy, scared feeling of water, and it seems to be unfounded, almost always that's because you've drowned it in water. And I remember this one woman that was trying to buy an apartment in Chicago, and her husband wanted a high-rise, and she was terrified of heights and falling off the balcony. And I looked at her DNA, and I found that in her last lifetime she had fallen off a 17th-story building. And Nibiru, or Planet X, and I'd like to call this Earth versus Nibiru, but they're really not in competition with each other. And a quick report on what's going on in our solar system. I wrote a lot of this down, because I've taken so many hits with weapons, I sometimes say one thing thinking I've said, something else. And that's how, like, sometimes I'll say that it's town Milwaukee when actually I meant to say Minneapolis. And the Earth was, a lot of times Earth is called a rogue or wanderer planet, but actually Father God, Father Om, brought this planet here on a wave of zero-point energy, and it was originally from a star system called the Pleiades. Currently, the Pleiades has 70 star systems with sentient colonies of life. It's mostly human star systems. And the Earth was, and I've done some research, and by the way, it's not that I have some incredible talent. Well, it is incredible talent and incredible gift, actually, but anyone can do this. Anyone can research, anyone can go to the Hall of Research, or any of 18 halls and temples on the other side. A lot of people call it channeling, but channeling is actually when a soul comes into your body and your soul leaves, which a lot of people claim to be doing, but they're not actually doing it. And, so I did a little research today from the Hall of Research, and I thought I would share it with you. The Earth was originally manifested of stardust, asteroids, rock, space ice, and other natural materials. And our planet is about 700 billion years old, and it congealed it's about 2 light years away from a star called Alcyone, which is in the Pleiades. And Alcyone is one of the few hollow stars that we have in our galaxy, and people live inside the star. Like our sun, the star is also hollow. Its shell is about 300,000 miles thick. And funny enough, I was just shocked when I found out, because when I heard that the light and heat from our sun and all these CME and all the flares and all this other stuff, the fire and the heat are not actually made here. They're actually made in the 7th dimension, and then somehow that fire and heat is broadcast down here to the 3rd. And that just totally blew my mind. I've been inside the sun a couple of times, and the people who live in there are called the Nephilim. And, since technically the Earth was purposely brought here, it's not really called a rogue or wanderer planet, because it had a specific path. And something that Heaven had told me today, which I already knew, Earth has been home to many species of people, including reptilians, amphibians, dinosaurians, insectians, humans, and other species, which at this point are too complex for me to understand. I think the blue avians fall into that category because in the simplest terms, they're bird people, but that's not really accurate, you know what I mean? It's just way too much going on there for me to understand at this point. And no one is, indigenous to this planet. And they like to use that term Native Americans, who I love dearly. I've been a Native American many times. Most of the Native American and Indians are from the Pleiades. Like the Cherokee are from the star system Cherokee. The Olmecs are from the star system Olmec. The Lakota, the Seminole. Seminole is the name of a star. And here in our solar system we have 57 planets. And to me, I found that interesting because we did have 66 planets, moons, and the sun. We did have 66 with sentient colonies of human life, but when heaven decided we were going to do a sweep of the solar system, many of those colonies were removed, so now we're down to 57, including the sun. And then what happened was, it was either you move into the light or you leave, or you be arrested. Those were the three choices. And almost everybody who lived inside the sun said, no, we're not going to move into the light. We like ourselves too much as we are. So Father God moved them out. And I think they're like over 4 trillion light years away and under quarantine, which is what happened to the Anunnaki. They were here, and they came along. I don't remember. They came along when Atlantis was still a predominant continent on this planet. It sank into the sea by their own doing, but they infiltrated Atlantis. It used to be benevolent, and then they took it over, and then they took control of the earth. Well, they left in the mid-90s. They decided to move into the light, and now they are living in a star system called Beta Cancari on the 4th planet. And then the big alien human invasion that we went through this weekend, which is why I look like I do and I'm so exhausted, was because of the same star system, the dark entity reptilians who only eat humans, are from the 14th planet there. And that's another thing that, because there was 1,200, I think it was 1,203 children that they had. Well, they ran out quickly. That was just like an appetizer. So then the Azula reptilians started eating CIA agents and everybody else, and it's been a really tough weekend. And, okay, I got through everything of that. Now, the sun is hollow, which I said before, and almost all the planets and the moons are hollow, except for Mercury. And one thing I love about our sun is the biggest mountain in our solar system is the size of Mercury, and it is inside the sun. The sun is beautiful, oceans inside. It's just incredible. And that's the way, there's this planet that blew up. It was called Tiamat, which later exploded. It was much, much larger than the Earth, and it was a vast ocean planet, inside and out, and mountains, and just incredible beauty, which is very closely depicted in the movie Avatar. And only non-physical beings live inside the big gas planets, which are not really all gas, but have a solid shell, just like the Earth, because the Earth is hollow and the Agarthans live inside. When the Anunnaki blew up Lemuria and it fell into the sea, they knew it was going to happen, and then they moved inside the Earth, where they are still there today. And Pluto and Chiron are actually moons of Uranus. And I don't know the calamity, I don't know what to call it, but there was a major catastrophe, and I'm assuming it might have something to do with Nibiru. But Uranus was flipped on its side, and the moons kind of scattered. And both Pluto and Chiron are inhabited, but they are really moons of Uranus. And when the the solar system is restored, they're going to be moved back to Uranus. And the next planet out, which, by the way, on Jupiter, Ganymede, Io, there's like 4 really big worlds right outside Jupiter, and all of them are inhabited. And the next planet out is called Xanta. It's spelled Xanta, and that's where one of my favorite types of people, humans, are called the Netaboruli. And the Netaboruli are absolutely beautiful people. They're just amazing to look at. Their skin is lavender, and some call them the purple people, but it's really not purple like my shirt. They're literally lavender. And then they have these incredible sparkles in their skin. They're just so beautiful, wondrous. I don't know how that works, but when you see them, you're just going to be amazed. I'm sure you'll be amazed, because I was just dumbfounded at like how beautiful they were. It's almost like they have diamonds in their skin. Incredible people. And they have been communicating with what most people call Native Americans, from North and South America, but really are Indian people. And they've been communicating with Indians here on Earth for about 400,000 years. And the reason they moved here was because they wanted to help hold the frequencies of the solar system. Because, like as Sylvia Brown used to say, her biggest joke was, Earth is the insane asylum of the universe, and that's true. And that's why we've been under quarantine, because this is was the literal darkest planet. And it, as far as I'm aware of so far, it's the only planet where children are harvested by the thousands, and or at least the only planet left where this massive child trafficking operations occur, and it's not here, just here in the United States. And Nibiru, I'm on the tablet, I'm almost running out of time here. Nibiru, well, I knew it was a constructed world, and I'm pretty sure this is where George Lucas got the idea of a Death Star is from. And, because one time I had looked at his DNA and I thought, this guy is pulling a lot of the stuff out from memory. And not actually the storyline of Luke and, everybody, but there were so many things that are true in Star Wars, it's just not actually a true story. And Nibiru was created about 300,000 years ago in the Orion Belt, and the same star system where our moon was created. Alnitak, it's spelled A-L-N-I-T-A-K. It's one of the 3 stars that we call of the Orion Belt. And I didn't know it was made there. I knew our moon was made there because I'd done the research. I'd been inside the moon 3 times. And it's, hollow. And one time I was looking out, one of these windows was so vast. I was just standing there in amazement looking at the Earth through this window out of the moon. And, that's when I had some trouble with the reptilians because they just started firing all these weapons at me and kind of my life went downhill from there, so to speak. And, it was built by the Anunnaki, and who, they are actually quite an interesting species. And the Insectians were the ones who helped master their study of genetics. And I was absolutely floored when I found out that most of the genetic study here on planet Earth is from the insects, who know far, far more about human DNA than we here of this planet do, the surface dwellers anyway of this planet. And most Anunnaki are a mix of 4 species, of reptilian, amphibian, insectian, and human, and they just chose to look human because humans are considered to be beautiful. Well, not all of us, but some of us. At least the galactic humans are all incredibly beautiful. And there's, like I've said many times before, there's 1,271 species of reptilians, 1,027 species of insectians, including 53 species of zeta reticulans. And there's 204 species of dinosaurians, and dinosaurians are some of the oldest tenants of this planet, and had a lot to do with the creation of the dinosaurs. They're very, very old people. And there's 1,245 species of amphibians. And actually, the little dude in the car commercial, if you expanded him to about 6 feet tall, that's what a lot of them look like. And a lot of them are also yellow and have triangular colors on their side with like a yellow belly and brown triangles. And actually, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. And then, of course, us humans, there's 56 species of humans. And I am what's called a cetacean human because I'm 97% human and 3% cetacean. And what happened to me was, and this has happened to a lot of people here on this planet, was we moved, because I came here 4.9 million years ago, and along the way I lived in 46 star systems, but I don't remember most of them because most of us are blocked from our memories here on this planet. And there's a star system called Nunki, where the people are half human, half dolphin. And that's where I acquired the cetacean DNA. It's really more than dolphin because there's more types of cetaceans than just dolphins. The dolphins and whales and the narwhals. And but basically that's up with me. But heaven wanted me to say, because I've never believed in the Big Bang theory, and I said, well, there's probably some truth behind it. Because I knew that, a long time ago I found out that our universe is 27 trillion years old, not 16 point something billion years old. But what heaven verified for me today, or cleared up for me today, was that there was a Big Bang. And which I usually say, when a lot of people are clamoring about something, there's usually a truth behind it. And heaven called it a half-truth. And in the closest 14 galaxies, this star was the biggest by far of any star, and it was really too big to be in a galaxy, so it was out on its own. And this huge, huge star exploded about just under 17 billion years ago, and this is what the scientists are now calling the Big Bang. Excuse me. Because because they actually can measure it and all this other stuff. They just think that's the creation of the universe. It's just not. Of course, most of the scientists on this planet are, based on the dark side. They got most of their information from the Archons, the Insectians, and the Reptilians, and they have been trying to fool us for years in their quest to control us and then harvest us for their food supply, which is what happened this weekend. It's just been, these people to be around. It's been a long weekend. I think it's almost over, though. Because we had to transfigure them before the Galactics could arrest them. Galactics can't just come down and arrest people. We have to transfigure them, which means they come into our homes and a battle takes place, and then it's just like, enough already. I'm ready to return to a nice, wonderful life. And once again, one person cannot be the source of truth in this universe. None of us are. None of us have it exactly right. But only God has it exactly right. And even when we go to heaven, we still are continually learning and learning and learning. And this is what I know to be true. And most of this information I picked up by going to the library. And I thought I would come back and share it with you. And I advise you to connect to the truth and do your own research if you think I'm crazy or whatever. Good luck. Have a nice day. And most of the horrible monsters are gone. Thank you.